Was Gears of War Reloaded a success? Hello Gears and Gaming fans, KDB here for Gears Intel, and today, joined by my podcast co-hosts for the first time in a long time, but we're all together, we're going to take a look at some of the news headlines and give our post-launch thoughts on the remaster of a remaster as Gears of War finally went multi-platform. So, first, he's been spending his free time, watching videos about the power lines in Red Dead Redemption 2. But don't let his nerdiness fool you, because he's ranked among the top 100 CrossFitters in Scotland or something. So hopefully he can bring us some decent gaming talk today. And also, I hope that his many hours in Tiger Woods PGA Golf 2004 have done him some favours, because he's teeing off later today, I think. It's writer, podcaster, David Smiley. Hello, and what is your handicap?
My handicap is not good. It's 24, so I'm not good at golf. I can hit a golf ball, but not consistently well. And you're getting a bit excited thinking that you're going to get some good chat from me. You will get chat from me. The quality of chat is yet to be decided.
Yeah, well, it's good to have you here anyway. And joining us with a broken heart, because his love for Game Pass has been squashed so much that he threw his vintage lanyard into the bin. So he's here to cheer himself up by reminiscing on what an absolutely horrible time he had on the Reloaded multiplayer last month. It's writer, podcaster, Alex Aldridge. Hello, mate. How are you?
Look, I got a replacement. Look.
What does it say?
What was on that before?
Oh, is that umbrella? Snap.
Yeah.
I got my hat on today.
Yeah, boy.
Yeah.
Do you remember when we went to Gamescom in 2018? Did they give us a free Game Pass subscription? It was like basically when it was in its
probably
early stages.
Yeah. Please sign up.
And we went. Yeah, they were desperate, weren't
the
they?
T-shirt I got to bed. Yeah.
Yeah, so I got a lanyard from that, which had Xbox Game Pass on, and I've worn it for every job that's required a pass ever since, with the pride of it being the best deal in gaming. And as of recent revelations, I decided to symbolically bin it and then took pictures of it and put it on Blue Sky, which we just dropping it in the bin. Yeah, I'm not promoting that upon my person. No. People might think I support it.
I don't blame you.
Which I do by still subscribing to it. Yeah. So I won't go that far. But I'm going to I'll throw the lanyard in the bin, you pricks.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, well, why don't we quickly touch on that then? Because like I say, there's a lot of things today. We're going to catch up quickly what we've been doing. But Game Pass, the prices did go up. And all of us, I think, have been big defenders of it. But even, I love Xbox, but I just watched it.
We've been defenders of Xbox too. So, yeah.
I just felt like, the price hike was spun to high heaven with, look at all this amazing stuff you get. And it's like, sure. If I was obsessed with Fortnite and League of Legends and Ubisoft, I'd probably jizz in my pants at what they were offering. And I'd think I'd still like saving loads of money.
But do you not think the offering's odd now, though? Because it gives you, with the stuff for the League of Legends and specifically the Fortnite offering, that's an offering for a game, thinking back to my Apex Legends days. To get the value of that, you need to be playing that all the time.
Yeah.
So then you can't. You can't make use of the other 400 games on the list.
Good point. And also, I don't believe Fortnite Crew's even out yet either.
No,
so
not
they've cranked up the price for something that's not even released.
Yeah, David.
So that's fair.
David, you're right. Like, Game Pass is supposed to be for people who play lots of games, not that lock in to one. But I think they're going to have obviously a ton of data that probably tells them that if they offer this to those people, they will stay subscribed, even if they don't play the other 400 games on Game Pass or something stupid like that. But
it's cheaper just to buy Fortnite Crew, though, as well, which makes it even more weird.
I know, but
I don't know what data's given them Ubisoft Plus.
Yeah.
I know what I'll get them. Assassin's Creed 3.
Yeah.
Thousands of Assassin's Creed games.
Yeah. They know it's shit. They know that that's not actually increasing the value. This is just a spin any way they can, and they got that. I don't know what the girl's name was who had to present the thing, but imagine either signing up willingly or being told
ceremonial
to deliver that news with a shit-eating grin and then be just memed for all eternity.
Yeah.
What a thankless job that was.
That's probably.
Can I just also?
Yeah, go on.
I also
David.
just say because I've said this to you both independently, but I want to get this on a podcast somewhere. I want them. I wish companies or the public, as at large, we need to stop assigning quantity to value.
Yeah.
Like there's 400 games on Game Pass now, but how many, like, realistically in a year, how many games do you play through to completion?
Yeah. Yeah.
75 new releases a year. There's not even
Like,
52 weeks. There's not
I
even
don't
75
need
weeks
them.
in a year. How am I going to do
enough.
that?
You don't
Yeah.
need them. They're nothing.
Yeah.
They're nothing. They are a number on a spreadsheet that you're never going to touch or engage with.
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah.
increasing the value. The value for me comes from, are you going to, I don't know, at least break even on the amount of first party games that they're releasing? And to me, I'm at the point now where I need to more than break even, because I would rather just pay for them, because you can't just whip them away or change up the Game Pass model and increase the price to try and keep me on the hook so that I can keep a hold of these games. I'm at the point now where I would rather just buy the game and have it. And then you're not just going to cycle it out. I have cancelled my subscription. I'm not one of these people that are going to sit there and say that I'm never going to get it again.
Sure.
I've cancelled mine for the moment, and I'm going to see if I miss it.
Yeah.
Dropped off all the tiers, not even the basic online multiplayer.
I may go back to the online multiplayer if and when it's required, if you and I are going to play a game. But while we're not doing it, I'm not having it, because and this is not a big moralistic thing, because I think there's plenty of spaces you can go and have that, and I sort of agree with a lot of it. But for me, it's just I need to make more than my money's worth, and I've gone through the games that I've played this year. And also they're like, oh, you'll get, 75 day one releases? This is a promise coming from a company that has spent the last 2 years cancelling games, paying off staff, and not releasing
shutting
games on time.
studios.
Gutting studios. Like I'm now at the point where they've sort of gone back on so much that they said, and the sort of mask is slipped. I know these companies are all here to make money, but this is so egregious to me that I'm now at the point where there's no trust, no faith, and I will buy their games on a as come basis rather than expect having any sort of trust and faith in them to deliver something for me as a fan. Is where I'm at with it.
The fact that a Microsoft company managed to actually put a mask on in the first place was quite impressive. We all started to think Microsoft wanted to offer us value and was consumer friendly for once, and then
absolutely.
Oh, wait, no.
I'm kind of like, again, this is going to sound hyperbolic, but I think on a sort of low level, it's true. I'm having a sort of grieving process with this, because it's a sort of realization that the company, I was an Xbox, for lack of a better term, I was an Xbox fanboy, but I sort of realized now I was an Xbox 360 fanboy, and the company that Microsoft or Xbox have become is not what I was a fan of, and they're not going to go back to that, which is I think it's a shame.
So apparently there's an app called Chapter 2, which is a dating app for widows. So I assume you've transposed that onto PlayStation 5. That's your Chapter 2 app, is it?
Well, for the moment, until I tried to buy Silent Hill F on PlayStation, on my PlayStation, and they tried. Well, you said PlayStation 2, but I tried to buy Silent Hill F, and it was like 70 quid, and then I looked on CD keys, and it was 35 on Xbox. I was like, damn it!
CD keys. If they bring the PlayStation things on there, then they're making a killing right now.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really disappointing, because I agree with your sentiment, David, and I just I'm someone who for a long time, we all see the bias against Xbox and stuff like that, and I felt like, no, I can stand by this, I know
100%.
that this is just bias, but this time it's like, well, yeah, you have gone and done it, because you have just spiked the price for profit, because they claimed it was profitable, but yet they're chucking the price up, and there's all these reasons and rumors as to why they've done it. But I mean, it's pretty simple, because everybody's doing it. The price has got to go up, and the profit margins have got to increase, and so they've spun it with this notion that you're still getting lots of value. I don't need the criticism I had for Game Pass before was there's too many. I was like, don't give me as many games and maybe reduce the price. To add more games and charge me more is not a selling point to me. And how does
a company? Sorry, mate. Go on.
I would think I haven't cancelled yet, because it renews still at the end of this month at the old price, so I'll get another month out of it as it is, and then I'm deciding whether I'm cancelling altogether or going down to premium. And whereas before it was I've been subscribed since 2017, now I'll dip in and out. And I think about what's coming up. Like, there are no Xbox games coming up between now and May that I want to play. Like, The Outer Worlds 2 is coming out. I would have played that had I been subscribed. I'm not going to subscribe to play it. I'm looking forward to Resident Evil Requiem and GTA 6, and then like a bunch of small games that won't be on Game Pass. So I don't need it. And I look at it, it makes you re-examine what you're paying for. You know, whether it's got value or not. It brings like the Eye of Sauron to it. Whereas before I just let it roll. Now I'm like, oh, even at $14.99, do I need it? And it's like, no, not really. I'll save myself 6 months worth of money and put that money into GTA 6 when it comes out, because I'm going to be playing that for 2 months or whatever. So it's really disappointing. I'm sure, you know, I still see I still see some of that bias online and stuff. Like, you know, Xbox, despite being expensive, is still the cheapest entry point for gaming. And I hate the fact that gaming is, you know, going up in pricing for everybody. But the main thing that they had has just it's gone now. You know, it's the main selling
it's like, what do you have now? You've got a console, you've put the price up twice in the last 6 months of...
Well, in the States, yeah.
I'm interested to see where things go for next gen and stuff. But yeah, Game Pass right now, it's like, I can't justify it.
I mean, no company is going to add value out of their own pocket to anything. You know, free gifts in, you know, magazines back in the day was fucking tat that cost absolutely nothing, that they were going to give you added value for having involved with it. But that's what they've done here. They haven't given us anything that is of worth to them. They're going to pretend that it's of worth to us and then jack up the price for the second time, I think, in a year, if not even shorter than that. A 50% hike out of absolutely nowhere for no value is pathetic. It's
nuts,
and it's an embarrassment as well. So yes, none of us are wrong to be upset by this, I think.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, this is the thing that's going to affect us most. You can get upset about anything you want in gaming, but if people are hitting your wallet and challenging what you value in video games, then that is what you should be annoyed about.
Yeah. Yep. Right, let's move on to some more fun stuff. Before we get
I will actually also say that I do think that this game we're going to talk about today is probably part of the problem. Considering it did so shit on PS5, they've gone, fucking hell. Yeah. Nobody wants our stuff out of the aside from the dickheads who already pay us every month. We got to recoup it with them.
It is interesting. We're definitely going to get into that. David, before we talk about Gears of War, it is Halloween. We've not all sat down and chatted like this for a little while, but rather than recount the last 6 months of your life, you know, what are you playing for spooky season, Halloween? Are you playing any horror games? You mentioned Silent Hill F. How's that going for you? Is there anything else you wanted to highlight?
Yeah, so far Silent Hill F, and then I'm very much nearly finished that, and I think because of the fun I'm having with Silent Hill F, I'm going to go and finally dig into the Silent Hill 2 remake that Alex and I bought at launch. With the eye towards doing a podcast, and then ended up noping out of that because of the way it ran, and went back to the original. So yeah, I'm playing that. I won't go into it too much because go and listen to our podcast when it comes out.
Sure.
But yeah, I think it's a largely great game that feels very Silent Hill in its sort of tone and messaging. I have mostly enjoyed, however, have some a few issues with it that I think have marred it somewhat. I don't think the combat's very good. I think it can be quite clunky and frustrating.
That's every Silent Hill game, though.
Yeah, it is. But yeah, because I also I was.
It doesn't excuse it.
No, well that's it. I was listening to a podcast. I was like, I come to Silent Hill for bad combat. It's like, no, I don't come to anything for bad combat. Like, it's one thing that I can sort of get along with to get to the other stuff. I don't come to it for the badness.
Yeah, I think the other stuff in this one is strong enough that you can,
exactly. And I was saying to Kelsey before you came online, Alex, I don't like the sort of
Scarecrow puzzle. Yeah, me neither.
Yeah, I don't like. I like how in Silent Hill 2, for example, which is my other major experience of a Silent Hill game, is how the sort of move between the sort of real world and the dream fake world was nuanced until you actually knew what was happening. This one, it's almost like two games running parallel to one another,
but not like in the medium.
Not like in the medium, no. It's extremely jarring. You very much know where you are at every time, and it telegraphs it in the same way so far every single time with a dramatic collapse and loss of consciousness. And then
better or worse than ways to make Alan Wake fall asleep until night time in the first Alan Wake game. Let's get him drunk with Barry this time, and then it'll be night time. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm mostly enjoying that. I'm trying to think what other playing. I've been sort of I had been poking away at while I wait on a Death Stranding 2 price cut. I've been poking away at Metal Gear Solid 5, which surprisingly I've not liked going back to it as much as I thought I would. It's a fine game, it's fun, but for some reason it's just not grabbing me in the way I was expecting it to, which I'm quite disappointed by. But yeah, still very much a Metal Gear Solid game. That.
Yeah. Alex, what about you? I get obviously you're playing Silent Hill F as well. Then for a winner is you.
Yes. Yes.
But anything else as well at the moment?
Well, I've been
Tell
cleansing...
them about the Retroid Pocket, Alex.
Oh yeah. Well, David and I. Well, so I had a bit of an adventure with this Retroid Pocket 5,
Nice.
which is amazing piece of kit. So I tried to order one. Well, I did a bit of research, which for me is always very, very tertiary and quick, because I'm quite a spontaneous idiot. So I was initially going to buy it. Oh, I can't remember what the website was. It was something like retroid.co.uk or something, which is not a real website. And I just thought to myself, this looks a bit weird. I'm just going to have a quick Google and make sure this is legit. And turns out it was a scam website. So I then went to get it from What Geek, I think it was, because that's what somebody on Reddit said. You would end up getting it for a certain price and relatively quickly. I then went to order it, and it said that it was... I wanted to get the GameCube colours, and I clicked it. I thought I did. Went all the way through, bought it, and then realised I'd accidentally bought the black one by accident, which I did not want. So then I immediately emailed them saying, can you exchange it, or can I cancel it? Like, I don't want this one, it's an accident. And then they emailed, they waited for a couple of days and then went, yeah, we posted it, sorry mate. So I was pretty furious about that and said, well, I don't want it. So what do? Do I just refuse postage and they or refuse delivery? And then they said they were going to offer me £5 off, which is ridiculous. But then I spoke to David about it, because I found that if you just go to Go Retroid, which is the official website, it's basically cheaper from them, and it still comes from China, but it's at least from the official website, and I managed to get the proper one. And then David offered to buy it off me, so then I went back and went, you know what, I will have that £5 actually. So yeah, but it's amazing. You can stick up to basically. Well, you can get Switch and Wii U working on there, but you can do mainly. I got it mainly for things like GameCube, PS2, PS1, Dreamcast.
Yeah.
So I have been playing quite a lot of virtual tennis, actually, weirdly, because that's about right. One match of virtual tennis is a decent shit, so that's not too bad. But on proper consoles and things, out to cleanse my palate and stop me having nightmares after Silent Hill F, I've been playing Yooka-Replay, which is finally a good video game. I'm very pleased to report, and I got a discount on it because I bought it originally. I backed it on Kickstarter, and I had it on my Xbox already. So when I went to check out Replayly in the shop, it gave me 30% off because I already owned it, so that was good. It's like £17.50 for a proper good 3D platformer collectathon thing that they've added basically double the amount of content to it. They've changed the way it looks. They've changed the way you get all your moves from the first part of the game now. You don't have to unlock them like you did in the previous one. They've obviously retooled the moves as well a little bit. In the first game, for every level, you kind of had to go in, do some stuff, leave the level, and then like go around somewhere in the hub world to expand the level and then go back in. The level is just expanded from the second you walk into it now, so it's all there, everything's available. And they've added these like little coin challenges in that test your sort of platforming skills and your speed skills. So absolutely brilliant. Really, really pleased they finally made it worth the hype that it had as the Banjo-Kazooie spiritual successor.
Yeah, it's one that I've constantly seen the thumbnail for, but never played myself. I'm just looking at it again now. Very cute.
It is cute, but it's got that kind of sassy, sarcastic British humour in it that the original Banjo-Kazooies had. Yeah. And I have found myself laughing at a couple of the jokes. So it may look very kiddie, but it's from a bunch of guys in their 50s or whatever it is who know what they had on their hands when they made it 30 years ago. Very much worth checking out.
Cool. For myself, so a little while ago, it's weird. I slowed down with games this year quite a bit after Intense last year. Playing Grand Theft Auto San Andreas through at the moment, which is random, I know, but that's quite a horror. That's a horror game, though, isn't it?
Yeah. I do half of the challenges without checkpointing in that, or is this the
it's not the definitive version. It's the 360
Good man.
version, which is a port of the mobile version, which is effectively
Bloody hell.
It's effectively the PS2 version, just a little bit. It doesn't look as it's widescreen and stuff like that.
Okay.
But we did on First Aid Spray. We did Resident Evil 6, which was fucking painful. Like I played that game a few years ago for the first time and thought, oh, it's kind of rubbish, but maybe not too bad. We did it for the podcast, and I was like, no, this is horrible. It's so bad in so many ways. Go and listen to
Were
us.
you the only
talk
one with
about
that opinion?
No, it was unanimously.
Okay. I need to listen to that then, just to stop me from ever going back.
Yeah.
And thinking, I'll give it one more chance.
Steve was trying to be
poor David in.
fair and nice to it, and there's sort of these things where it's like, oh, you can see what they were trying to do, but it's chaos. The whole thing is chaos, and but I had such an unhappy time with that game that as soon as I finished it, I uninstalled it, and I was like, I need a palate cleanser, and I chose Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, and it's because I'd listened to the Backpage podcast to their playthrough, and I was like, I need to revisit. So, and then that has now become like my evening game for the past 3 weeks. So I've been playing through that, which is really good. But also because it's Halloween, and so this year, for the 4th year in a row, I'm judging for the horror.
Did anyone? Sorry, before you do that, since we were talking about GTA,
Yeah.
one thing I didn't know until like 2 days ago, that San Andreas is this like an old Spanish derivation of St Andrew, who's the patron saint of Scotland. I did not know that this was why they have called it St Andrews.
No, I didn't.
Essentially,
I didn't know
the game. Did anyone else know that?
I did not. I mean, I knew that.
Not.
Obviously, it's a reference to themselves and their location, I guess. But I did not know that. And also, but there is a place in Los Angeles called the San Andreas Line or something. Is it? I don't know. My American geography. Is
That makes sense because The Rock has a movie called San Andreas,
That's
which
it.
confused
Yes, he
me when
does.
that came out.
What was I saying? Because it's Halloween. I am judging for the Horror Game Awards for the 4th year in a row, which has just got bigger and bigger and bigger every year. And I maintain that it's like the premier Horror Game Awards online. The guys that launched it have done really well in a few short years to build up this award ceremony. And there is obviously, they had some great stuff last year, and they got Sam Lake to do his acceptance speech, which was really cool. And this year they've collaborated with IGN and as part of the people that show off their showcase and stuff like this. So it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. But I am needing to cram some games to make sure that, as a judge, I'm doing my due diligence. So of course I've completely ignored everything big and new that's came out, and I've been playing Camp Keep Alive, which is a small indie game that the developers kindly gave me a code for to review. So I bet
they did.
I've been
Please judge us nicely.
I've been playing that, which I am going to put a review out for, and that's really good fun. It's
this didn't look how I was expecting it to look.
It's a turn-based strategy game. Sort of, it looks like it could be on a Commodore or early PC sort of era, where you've got to protect, you got to rescue these dim-witted campers that get attacked by various iconic monsters, and it's kind of like tongue-in-cheek 80s horror tropes and very self-referential and stuff like that. And that's been taking up my time, sort of, as and when I can cram some time in on Steam. But I mentioned to David,
you played that cabin game for this.
Well, that's the thing
I was talking about.
That counts for this year. So, and I played that earlier this year, the Cabin Factory, which you asked about, David, and that is up there with my favourite horror experiences this year for sure. But I do need to play Kronos, and I probably need to play Silent Hill before the awards, because they're two of the big ones. I'm also waiting for Silent Hill 2 remake to potentially come to Xbox, because the year exclusivity in theory is up now. So
yeah, true.
But
it's just gone on to the PlayStation Plus Premium tier, isn't it?
I was hoping they'd do a Death Stranding where it's like the year, to the exact day it would then just launch on Xbox, but that's not happened. So who knows if that's even going to happen at all. But yeah, hoping to
Speaking of Halloween,
go
on, keep going.
I was just going to say, hoping to play a few more horror games in time for the awards to make sure I'm sort of up to date there. So by all means, if you're listening to this and if you've got any recommendations or anything for me to consider, please do let me know, because I've got a cram over the next month or so.
I've got some I can send your way.
Yes, please.
I think. Yeah, speaking of Halloween, this is the first year that my daughter is going to go trick-or-treating. She's already chosen her witch costume, but I'm going to accompany her, and I can't go out of costume, so here is my costume. Give me your candy. I've got the hat and everything as well.
I was going to say, you're going as a minion.
No, I'm going as big old fat lad Wario.
I got it.
Yeah. So that's me.
Lovely choice. I've got my costume sorted. I already had most of it, but the accompanying shirt didn't really fit me anymore, so I bought a fresh one off Amazon. I posted on Blue Sky last night. I'm not going to spoil what it is here, but if you look at my post, you can probably guess. Because my kid absolutely loves Halloween too. We all do. We've got the lounge decorated at the moment as well and stuff. Pumpkins are on the doorstep. Cool. Right, let's talk about Gears of War because we've been going for a little while now. So, as mentioned, this is like this is basically an extended news episode. We've got some coghole news topics which are then going to lead us into some chat about Gears of War Reloaded, kind of give our thoughts on that. And as I said at the start, was the game a success? What did we like about it? Was it worth doing? All this kind of stuff. So let's keep it moving. David, if you wouldn't mind, as usual, being our lead anchor, taking a lead on the news headlines, over to you in the coghole.
Yeah, I've put my... I was going to say waders on. Yeah, that's probably the right way to describe this. To get back down into the coghole. Alex
I'm going to get prepared.
Get prepared. Get hazmat suit on. I guess it's because it's been a while since we have spoken about Gears of War. There's a few things that have happened. Gears of War movie is finally going ahead. There's been a director confirmed, but it won't be out in 2026. Do we have a date in mind for this? Is that 2027? When's the new Mario movie coming out? To give me
that's April next year.
Handle. Is that April next year? So I guess what we're looking at 27, 28 for this.
So David Leitch has finally been attached. He was rumoured for a while. They were like in talks, but they've officially confirmed that he's attached. He directed Deadpool 2.
That's the John Wick guy.
The John Wick guy, Deadpool 2. It's funny because we started this show kind of based off the back of the news of the announcement of the movie.
Yes, we did,
which was 2022, November 2022, I think, or 2023. I'm getting confused. So we've come so far now with absolutely nothing. John Spaeth is confirmed to be writing. In this time,
just reading that. So he's done Prometheus, Doctor Strange,
Dune,
Passengers,
Doctor Strange,
Dune 1 and 2.
All movies which are pretty good. I would say. And David Leitch, like Deadpool 2 is probably the worst of the three, maybe.
I quite liked that. I thought that was better than the first Deadpool.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, again, it's decent enough talent attached to it. What was I going to say? So, but yeah, we had, in the time it was announced to now, there's also been like a big like Hollywood strike as well, so it's definitely slowed things down. But here we are now in 2025 and they're like, it's going ahead, there's a lot of energy around it. Kelly McCormick, the producer, said there's a lot of energy. They were promoting another movie at the time as they were talking about this, but they're like, E-Day's coming out next year, but it's not going to be out in time for that. So I don't know, like, it's just, I started to kind of cool on the movie a bit because I'm not sure it can work, to be honest. And we've done an original episode on it, and as more news comes up, we'll talk about it more. But that it's steaming ahead. Apparently, I mean, Alex, do you have any confidence in this movie? It's taken them this long to get the writer and director attached, and no sign of it being out next year. So, are you excited or what?
I'm not as excited as we were when it was first unveiled. We went through all of our casting ideas and all that kind of stuff. We did get quite excited about it. What's the status with the Netflix? Is there a show as well?
Yeah, an animated series which has been nothing on as well.
Yeah, I was going to say I've not heard anything about that either. So, it shouldn't be difficult to make it, because you don't have to have the greatest story writer in the world.
Yeah,
as long as you get some, I think as we said at the time, some kind of like real special effects, not CGI, some actual what do they call them? Practical effects.
Yeah,
like would be really good to see some locust costumes and stuff like they did for the Uruk-hai and stuff in Lord of the Rings. But that's speculating on something that might not even actually happen. So. No, my confidence is not high for this one.
I kind of want to know what they're doing around these? Because now I feel like there's an established pattern of Microsoft turning their media into I don't know, TV and film, and not having anything to go along with it. So like the Fallout TV show came out augmented with what a release that's coming out now for Fallout 76. Like it just didn't seem to be matched up with anything to do with the game.
Well, it's
Same
coming out again in December, isn't it? Season 2. So
Yeah.
maybe, I don't know, but that's still
the
spurious. To be
Well,
fair.
the first series didn't have anything that I can
No.
think of to link to, and then
It just ramped up 76 player numbers, didn't it? I think.
Yeah,
as a result,
and-
which I don't know if that was intended or not. Probably not.
No,
To
and
be
then the Halo
to be
TV
fair,
show
we
had
we
nothing,
covered we
like,
covered
with
that
either.
on the Fallout podcast. And not only ramped up 76 players, it put every single Fallout game in the top selling 10 games of like that.
That's
month.
true, it did.
Fallout 4
Yeah.
as well, Fallout 3. It spiked that game a lot. I mean, so there is something to be said about that synergy for sure.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of my point, though, is
Yeah.
that there's a synergy there. So why is there nothing coming along with it? I mean, like for example, The Last of Us had a whole re-release of a remaster of the first game that came to PS5 when Season 1 came out. Like, there's nothing that goes with these. And so I don't know what the point is, really. Is it just a money-making exercise? Probably. But then they not always are. I don't know. I guess that's...
If they're good,
I'm
we
not
shouldn't
really
complain.
sure.
I don't care about the bottom line. I have to care about the good media. And in Fallout's case, it was brilliant. So
I guess
I don't
mine's
care
an
what they got from it.
I guess mine's an overarching comment on a lack of coherence with their brand.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which
rather
is
than anything else.
It's just like you say, it kind of makes it's the whole thing pointless if you're not going to line that up. Fallout 76. So they when that show launched, my buddy Eric and I on our Fallout podcast were like, get these characters in the game, like ASAP. You could do this. Like Walton Goggins was obviously a big fan favorite, and he's in the game. They've launched a new update. Well, it's in the test server at the moment, but the new update to 76 is bringing that character to the game in a new location expansion, new missions, and Goggins is voicing the character as well, which is awesome.
It's getting good write-ups as well
Yeah.
from what I've seen. I've seen a couple people
And that's
talking about having got to play it.
in time for season 2 of the show, which is out in December. So they've sort of managed it a little bit. I think it probably took them by surprise when the Fallout show did so well. But that's cool, and it's a shame they can't do more here, or they should be doing more here. This is everyone is doing this. Gaming, as we know, making money in gaming is difficult. It's generating a lot of revenue. It's not generating a lot of profit. So everyone is diversifying. Nintendo, in their infinite sort of shrouded in secrecy and sacredness of their IP, are now chucking movies at you left and right. We've got the second Mario movie
don't get me
coming.
started on that shit.
A live action Zelda is coming. I'm probably going to get a Donkey Kong movie as well. So, and Sony are doing this. We've got God of War.
I thought you were going to
TV
mention
series.
that fucking Pikmin thing.
What is that? I saw the
Prime
trailer.
example.
Is that a TV series or something?
No, it's a creation of something called Nintendo Pictures that is just going to be releasing animated shorts that benefit. I don't know who.
Yeah.
Is this a
who wanted to see Pikmin fucking with a baby's dummy?
Yeah.
Instead of having an announcement for a new Pikmin game. I don't know those people exist. I don't think they do.
This is
Nintendo
what they're doing. They're all, Sony have got TV shows coming on the way, and there is a what's the other Xbox one coming? There is another Xbox one. I can't remember what it is. They've just announced that Minecraft 2 is coming as well, of course, because that made like $7 billion with all the crazy people in the cinemas throwing chickens about. But everyone is doing this. And I would hope for Gears of War to have a successful movie. The further away we get from this announcement, the less enthused I am about it. And I'm just kind of like,
exactly.
I mean, you got a lot to prove here. And I don't know what's going on. What I will say is on that episode years ago that we did where we talked about casting, is I vouched for Rhea Ripley to be cast in the movie, who is now a bigger star than she was back then.
Yeah,
and I think probably has more stock. And I just watched some of the clips from the Australia WWE show at the weekend, and she's just like, again, she's one of their biggest stars, and I'm like, how long before she's in movies? When's she going to be cast in the Gears of War movie? I maintain that that's somebody that they could cast, but well,
she might outgrow it if she carries on like that.
Well, exactly, because it's taking so long. But
yeah.
So yeah, one day we may have a movie. There's a lot of energy behind it, apparently. So we shall sit with bated breath for any more news.
Yes, we can do nothing else.
David,
Yes.
What else?
Gears of War Reloaded which is ostensibly the purpose of this podcast
Segue.
today. Yeah, Segway. It has now passed 1 million players, but it's apparently struggling to sell on PS5. I was looking through the links that you kindly provided, and it looks like they've sold estimated around 250,000 units on PlayStation, which is about a quarter of the sales, which is the complete inverse. I was reading yesterday that apparently 85% of Call of Duty sales came on PlayStation versus Xbox last year. So this is a nice invert, and as we know, Xbox players, because of Game Pass, don't necessarily buy games in the same quantity. So that doesn't bode well for the sales and financial success of this release, perhaps.
Yeah, this news is from like maybe 2.5 weeks ago as well, because we were going to record this a couple of weeks ago and we've been a little bit delayed, but I can't imagine it's spiked since then. And well, I know it's not spiked because they've also, in this past week, put the game on sale, 25% off. But in terms of 1 million players, I mean, great. I mean, I think that's not unexpected. I was listening to some other shows that said that they'd heard internally that that surpassed their expectations of 1 million players. So I think they were pretty happy with that. Obviously, most of those players were on Xbox through Game Pass and the free versions of the game that they gave out to everybody. I would say I would have expected more from PlayStation. I would have expected more sales. To me, I feel like this is lackluster. This is one of the premier franchises. This is Gears of War. Apparently, people have been wanting this on PlayStation for a long time, and it comes out and it doesn't sell very well. I think there's probably a few specific reasons for that, and one being it's just an old game. It's a remaster of a remaster. What is there to entice PlayStation players when they know a new Gears of War is on the way? I think many of them are probably thinking, I'll just wait for that. There's a lot of people.
They've played it already. It's 24. It's 24 years old, and you're really you're harping on. You're going by the assumption that PlayStation players have not touched anything Xbox or PC related in 24 years to be like, finally I can play this.
That's what I was going to say.
As if that wasn't possible.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I think if you wanted to play Gears of War by now, you probably have. So I expected.
And if you didn't, why would you now?
Yeah,
why?
I expected maybe a little more based off mainly the novelty, but I suppose this is the ceiling for it. It's 250,000 copies now.
It's one of those. Did you do it in the end, just to have it on a PlayStation and look at it all weird, or did you not bother in the end?
No, well, I don't have a PlayStation, but I know David.
You don't have a PlayStation?
No, David was thinking about it because that is completely, that is a fun reason to get it, or if you want to get the trophies and stuff like that. And it was cheap as well. So there were sort of many reasons to get it. And in my review, I was like, if you're a PlayStation player, pick it up. And if you've never played it, absolutely pick it up. But that is obviously a small number of people. And then now they've put it on sale. So we are less than 2 months out from the game being out. And David, so what do you think about this? They haven't slashed the price. 25% off, I think, for the next 2 weeks or so on the game. So clearly they're trying to shift a few more copies.
I think perhaps the idea of the sales figures being lackluster is not ideal. However, I do think they've now established the Gears of War franchise on the PlayStation console. If they're looking to, like we were speaking about before, release movies and TV shows, players now, as they are becoming hopefully increasingly aware or remembering the Gears of War franchise, they now have access to this thing. I think for me, this game, like I said, it's a remaster of a remake, or a remaster is something that's already been released with some polishing up done on the sides. It, like I say, it puts it onto a different console, gives people access to it when they want it. I don't think it probably was very expensive to make.
No, yeah.
I think it's probably doing what it's meant to do, really. I think, again, like speaking of us specifically, who have been Xbox players maybe primarily for a long time, it was never for us. It's for people that have never played this before, and it's now there.
Yeah.
So it's not a very exciting point of view, but
No, you're right. And that point you said about it didn't cost a lot to make, I think, it's not been disclosed how much it cost to make, but it definitely didn't. I mean, I'm talking, it's a remaster of a game that already existed, which they have added basically nothing to. So, for the little I know about how things work, a couple of $1 million max, like probably not even that. Like, maybe a year's work. I don't know. But interestingly, and Alex, I don't know what you think about this. So despite these lackluster sales, we did have some sales official numbers out from August, which is the month the game came out. And Gears of War Reloaded, and this is across all platforms, Gears of War Reloaded was number 6, only being beaten by games like NBA, Madden, and then a couple of other new ones, Mafia the Old Country, Metal Gear Solid Delta, another remake, a 70 quid one, I might add, and then EA Sports College Football. But number 6, Gears of War, sits there, beating Donkey Kong Bonanza, beating Call of Duty for that month, GTA for that month, which is still number 10. I just can't.
Mental.
I can with this. And it outsold Helldivers 2 as well, which obviously launched on Xbox as well. So, So, I mean, it's selling, but I mean, as I mentioned, is that the ceiling? But what do you think about that, Alex? It being at number 6 of the top sellers.
I mean, they were possibly enthused by that. It was obviously off to a decent start, but this kind of game is probably not going to have a very long life cycle sales wise anyway. With it being so omnipresent across other platforms for so many years, like it's just. Basically, I think all you could really have hoped for was a sort of a launch week boom, and then it's just going to trickle out to almost nothing because those who were even bothered about getting it on PlayStation, who somehow had never played it before, are going to get it pretty much straight away, and then everybody else is going to play it on Game Pass or have already played it and not care. So I do think that was probably the best they could have hoped for. I really don't know what they thought they were going to get, considering it is a remaster of a remaster that doesn't really add anything significant. I'd have been more interested if they did some kind of stuff on the PlayStation for it. I don't know, some kind of just cosmetic stuff in the game, maybe PlayStation related skins. Make use of the DualSense controller, which it may do. I don't know,
ever so
but
slightly, like the haptics and stuff. But I think it's minor.
Yeah, because you got those adaptive triggers. That would have been so good if something could happen when you jam it.
Yeah,
if you jam your perfect reload or whatever. What's that? What do they call that?
The active reload.
Active reload.
Yeah.
You jam your active reload, then the triggers just completely lock up. Like that kind of shit would feel at least slightly fresh in a way to play it and give it like a bit of a USP on a different platform. But I'm not aware that it did that. So.
No, I think
I think this was probably the best they could have hoped for.
Yeah,
obviously it's probably unlikely that this would have ever happened. Kelsey, you said you've got good reasons for this. Do you think it would have moved the dial in any way, shape, or form if it came out as a remastered trilogy rather than just this one again?
Definitely,
that people don't really understand what the point is.
Definitely,
100%. And I'm definitely I'm gonna sort of round off on a bit more about that. But yeah, I think we've talked about it on this show. Everybody wanted it. I think if they clearly, Alex called this a litmus test as well, which he was right, and they made a decision maybe
litmus has been tested.
Yeah, and as I said, the sentiment apparently internally is that it surpassed their expectations. I think they were expecting nothing, and they got a fair few sales, and they certainly made their production money back. Had they released the trilogy instead, I think it'd be a very different story. And I think, but maybe
it would be such a different conversation.
Yeah, and obviously a lot more time and work sort of go into that. And who's to say if it's still happening? I mean, as I said, I'll talk about that more in a minute. The main sentiment that I saw was that why isn't this the trilogy? Why isn't this a remastered collection? Why do one? Oh, it's lazy, or you're doing it piecemeal. You're going to get 3 lots of 40 quid out of me rather than just one go in 70.
Doesn't sound impossible, does it?
Yeah. So it's a shame because. But then I say, is it a shame? Because it's sitting at number 6 for the top sellers that month. They're probably thinking, we got away with it. I'm not sure that's what they said, but they're probably more than happy with the fact that they upscaled the game and they generated a fair bit of revenue on it in a time when it's very difficult to sell games. And they tested the water for on PlayStation, which, you know, it's not sold as much as Forza, which exploded over there. But yeah, I think there's maybe some other reasons why it didn't hit on PlayStation, which again I will get to. But yeah, also Alex,
I'd be interested in the Xbox numbers. I'd be interested to see like
who bought
even
it,
just people who installed it on Xbox Game Pass,
Yeah.
because you're almost diminishing some of the USPs of your console there. You've got this HDR boost and the frame rate boost that you've been applying to loads of games. I'm almost certain they definitely applied to Ultimate. So what in, you know, why would I need to install this on top of what I've already played?
You know, like,
would have done it.
is it less than 10%? If you get unlock a trophy that's less than 10% of people have got, you get that little diamond trophy. I was getting them very early.
Yeah.
I was getting them very early on in playing the game, like just with story campaign.
Yeah,
interesting.
Kind of see. I mean, that's kind of what I did. I booted up the campaign and went, this is the best way to do this.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do it.
Yeah, the achievement thing is funny, isn't it? Because you know, I played the game early, and obviously every achievement was rare. But like you say, David, if you pop it up now and you're still getting rare achievements in Chapter 2, you're like, oh, okay, what's happened here? But yeah, one other thing quickly before we move on, Alex. So I kind of touched on it. It did launch the same day as Helldivers 2, and I did a video about this, about why I thought, you know, it's generally broadly this is a good thing. It's cool that Helldivers 2 came over, and I bought Helldivers 2. It's a great game. I've liked what I've played of it so far.
Game.
I need to put a bit more time into it. But was that the right move? Was it part of a deal, maybe, to get the games over, to agree to do it on the same day? Do you think it launching the same day as Helldivers 2 forced people into making a choice and potentially harmed the sales of either game? Do you have any thoughts there?
Did you mention it, Helldivers, in that top-selling game?
Yeah, so it got... Helldivers was 14th.
Okay. Well, I guess it didn't really harm it then if it outsold it. It seems like it was potentially the other way around, really.
Yeah.
We've bemoaned this kind of practice in years gone by. That doesn't guarantee that there was going to be synergy between two completely different development companies and publishers who are just going to release a game. Like, they don't have to be beholden to avoiding each other or agreeing to do it at the same time. It does seem a bit misguided if there was sort of communication between the two. If to agree these deals to go across, then you probably would have thought, maybe let's not just stick them both out there at the same time. We don't want to Titanfall 2 the shit out of this. With the old, what was it, Battlefield 1 or 4 or something? I don't remember.
Yeah.
So I think it does seem slightly misguided because, again, they're both online games as well that require, they're going to take up that part of your spare time. But games are releasing, every week, so you're going to be competing with something. But this one, it does seem like it could have probably been a bit avoided and maybe would have had something of a boost to it. Yeah. Unless people are just so excited to get both. But I mean, I didn't technically get either.
Yeah. I think timing-wise, you can quibble with. I think the direction of travel for both companies is quite clear now. Xbox, Microsoft are going to put everything out on everything these days, and PlayStation are going to
do more.
Put stuff on PC more, and when it comes to multiplayer stuff, where they've got games that rely on an online perpetual online community, that's something that is going to become multi-platform much more quickly. And I think that's just the way they're going, because especially with Sony chucking their lot in so much with always online games, and it blowing up in their face so spectacularly. They need to recoup that in some way, and multi-platform's a way to do that. And I don't think it's necessarily a draw to their platform at this point either. So why not?
I am interested to see where it goes, because there were a lot of people that thought Helldivers 2 on Xbox would absolutely not happen, and were convinced it would not happen, and it kind of came out of nowhere. And Sony, while protective of their IP, and they rely a lot on PlayStation, they have new leadership in place, and I do look at things like Spider-Man and I'm like, that's not your game, that's Disney's game. And if Disney are looking at numbers on opposite platforms, they might be thinking, hey, we want some of that. And we do live in a time where I could see Spider-Man 1 coming out on Xbox late, not when they do a new game, but when there's licensing involved, I don't know. It's just an interesting conversation.
So, I mean, where's the incentive to bring it over to X? Like, not even the incentive. Where's the predictable benefit?
Yeah.
Where's the tangible benefit that you can foresee happening to bringing something to Xbox on a platform that is, well, right at the moment, completely mired in controversy?
Yeah.
And therefore, not even being stocked in certain outlets in the US, price hikes twice already. Yeah. Like, you're right. It is actually incredible that we got a Sony IP on Xbox. Will it be the last? I'm not sure. Probably for a while.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's jump into a few more talking points about Reloaded itself. So I have played the game quite a lot. I think you've both dived in as well. Alex and I played some multiplayer together. But firstly, review scores and fan sentiment. So just to kind of recap where we are, it currently sits with a 79 on Metacritic, and the general overall sentiment that I've seen on social media, and if you look at the reviews, is that this is, if you're going to pick up Gears of War 1 today, this is probably the best way to play it, certainly with the campaign.
There's no question.
Yeah. So this is the way to go. And then the main criticisms being things like it's probably a missed opportunity to have done a little bit more with it. For example, adding a horde mode, or maybe doing a few more little bits of quality of life stuff. Like I mentioned in my review that I really miss being able to just vault over cover while you're running. That's not something you can do in this game. Spotting enemies, which is in this game, wasn't in the original, so that was cool to see things like that. But it's just it is the bare minimum, but it does look really, really good. It plays really well. So, but general feeling, what do we think? Yes, it's a prettier Ultimate Edition, but before we talk specifically about the visuals, what's it just like to play Gears of War 1 in 2025, David? How did you feel just with, general gameplay and movement? How did it feel to you?
Mostly great. I'd say like 75 to 80% is absolutely fantastic. It is Gears, and it is the best version of that game in Gears as like a sort of input controls. It was the best in class, and it sort of just reminds you that it's still up there with some of the best guns, some of the best ways to shoot. It's just the meatiness of the weapons are still great. The level designs are still good. I would say that it's sort of being a 25-year-old game now. It's starting to feel a bit like a 25-year-old game, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. Like it is what it is, and it shows simultaneously. Like I think I speak about this with Halo, for example. Whenever I go back, like it certainly shows its age, but it just shows you how excellent and far ahead of its time when it came out. The game that Gears of War was, that it doesn't feel older to play than it does. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
The campaign's still great. It's still awesome.
Yeah,
still good fun. Yeah,
you can pick this up today, and it doesn't feel like a 20-year-old game. Yes, there's maybe some bits that have been added in subsequent games where it's like they're missing here, but you're not going to pick this up and go, oh, I can't play this. It's not like tank controls and modern Resident Evil. This can fit alongside. I think most people can pick up and play this today as if it was a game that was not 20 years old. So I have no complaints there. And as I mentioned, it's just I felt like maybe they could have added a few more of those bits, like better melee and vaulting over cover, but once you're sort of in the swing, it's a more simplified game anyway. The levels are fairly short, and getting through them isn't a massive struggle. Even on the harder difficulties, it's something that's quite achievable. But Alex, just playing it in 2025 and how it functions, do you think it felt dated at all, or does it feel okay still?
I definitely don't think it felt dated. Again, I'll just sort of agree with what the two of you have already said, especially the whole the best in class idea, and Kelsey, you just said there as well, it's missing things that have been added in subsequent games, but we're talking about Gears games. And if you're talking about Gears of War was the best in class at the time, it kind of is the class now. There isn't really an overabundance of third-person cover shooters anymore. That genre they are the flag bearers almost solely for this genre. So I think that definitely helps new players come to it and just go, well, this feels kind of like I'd expect. Because at the moment, you're basically getting the Resident Evils or shooting mechanics in an Uncharted or a GTA, and neither of those games I would suggest are as good to shoot in third person as Gears 1 was. So yeah, to play it is still great. It's always been great, and I guess the problem here is that it doesn't feel greater to me than it did all that time ago. It may look greater, and I can kind of pretend that because it doesn't look like a blurry, muddy brown mess that this is a revolution in how the game plays. It isn't. It's the same game, and it is. The biggest disappointment is definitely that they just didn't chuck in all the other stuff that they've added to the series. I mean, Tony Hawk did that, and that was Activision. So I mean, published by Activision. So I'm very disappointed to see that they haven't just kind of dumped in all the quality of life stuff that they've added over the years, and just do something to freshen it up other than visuals.
Yeah,
it's the biggest problem.
Yeah, you're completely right. I feel the same way. Another thing I mentioned about the game before is there is part of me that's like, they've approached it as sacred, and they're like, no, we're not going to change it. It is what it is, and we think it can stand on its own merits. And I do see merit, and I do see value in doing that and not changing anything. Look at some of the feedback rumors that are coming out about the Halo potential remake at the moment, and this notion that they might be adding sprint to the game, and the Halo purists are like, no, don't do it, you're going to ruin the game. And it's just like, really?
Well, yeah.
Really? But so they've kind of approached this and gone, no, don't worry, we're not going to mess with it. It is as you remember. It just runs better and nice better. But it's clear they didn't mess with it. They wanted to get it out multi-platform, and I'm kind of fine with them not. It's annoying that they didn't change, freshen it up a little bit, but maybe that's it. Gears of 1 is sacred in its nature, and it functions perfectly well, and I can accept that they didn't want to mess with it too much. But but it looks nice, as you say, and I have a pretty decent TV. I can also have 120 FPS on my TV as well, and I try to make sure that I played this game, and that my review really approached it from more of a presentation standpoint, because it plays the same. It's
what
the
else
game,
can you do it from?
It's how does this look and sound, and what's the vibes? And I mean, as far as that goes, I mean, you compare this. There's been a few people saying that it doesn't even look different to Ultimate Edition, and that's nonsense. It does. If you put them side by side, you can see the jump. There is a huge jump from Ultimate Edition to this, particularly with just kind of clarity. And Ultimate Edition, despite having better textures than the original game, is still quite muggy and quite blurry. And if you put them side by side, this is a huge step up. But in terms of visuals, I was pretty blown away with how it looks. And if you want to get nerdy about it, you can walk around and you can look at what they're doing here with the power they've got, and with things like the reflections and the lighting. And I took a ton of screenshots and footage, and some of which hasn't even gone online on the Gears account or anything yet, but I was blown away by the visuals, and I can't fault that in any way whatsoever. But David, what do you think about how this looks and all the new bells and whistles for Reloaded? And are they justified in saying that this looks better and looks nicer?
Oh yeah, it definitely looks better and looks nicer. For me, the biggest thing was less how it looked in the sort of removal of any loading screens. It's nice that it just sort of pings from cutscene to gameplay and then back again without having to sit and wait for it. I think that's for me the biggest thing. But yeah, I don't really have much to add beyond what you're saying. It does look better. Like you, or not like you, sorry. I played it and I was like, does this look better? I can't tell any difference.
I did that too, yeah.
And then I went back and had a look online at the previous game and side by side, and yeah, you can tell the difference. Very much so.
Kelsey, what do you think's the bigger leap? The original to Ultimate or Ultimate to this? It's got to be original to Ultimate.
Yeah,
right?
The original to Ultimate it's funny because you kind of forget if you go back and look at the original.
That original,
game,
oh my god!
Some of the I love the original to death, and I played it this year, and it's still for what it is within context looks great and plays great, but it's like a previs for Ultimate Edition. They added Ultimate Edition. It wasn't just improving the textures. They added, they added models, they added props, they changed, things that were in there. There's like silly things like crates and shelving that just doesn't exist in the original game. So they enriched the world massively with, they enriched the levels massively with Ultimate Edition, and then with this they, what I'd say was the original to Ultimate Edition is like a 70% upgrade. This is like a solid 25% upgrade between Ultimate Edition and this, but it looks.
I mean, that
really
is really
nice.
what. Yeah, that is really what modern gaming upgrades are at the moment. Anyway, isn't it? Like the leap from the last generation to this is basically just this talk of all this, variable refresh rates and ray tracing and shadows and lighting and all that kind of stuff, and 120 hertz. So they're not as tangible as they were anymore, and they probably never will be again. It's these are the improvements that we can be expecting of modern games now. Anyway, it does just raise the question again of what really was the point.
Yeah, and I get it. Like, some people could not give a shit about that stuff, and there are occasions where I don't care about that. Like, it's not what I'm looking for. But here's an example of like where I feel Reloaded worked for me, and something else might not have. So Reloaded obviously was accessible to me through Game Pass, or I could have paid 40 quid for it, or I got a free copy because I had the original Ultimate Edition, and I got a review code as well. But I'd already had Reloaded before that anyway. Had I not had access to it in any of that way, would I have paid 40 quid for it? Possibly. But I tell you what I would not have paid, and what I have not paid 70 quid for, and that's the MGS3 remake. And I love MGS3 with all my heart. Like, it's probably my favourite Metal Gear Solid, and I was so hyped for Delta, but when I saw that it was full price, I was a bit like, I'm not paying 70 quid just for a graphical upgrade. And I appreciate there's
I've gone that way with it as well.
There is a little bit more to Delta from what I understand. They have tweaked a bit, which is okay, fair enough. But I still don't think that justifies a 70 quid upgrade, because everybody I've heard talk about it has said it is still the PS2 game, basically, and that it will play that way. So in terms of the visuals being justified and justifying the price, I think, if you've never played Gears of War before, yes, absolutely. If you have played it before, you've probably got to be a real big fan or an enthusiast to want to pay 40 quid for effectively a graphical upgrade. I probably would have paid it because I love the franchise, but I definitely wouldn't have paid 70 quid. So I think they made, they knew what they had here. It's why they've effectively given it away for free to everyone on Xbox, basically. Like, if you played it before, if you had Ultimate Edition, you didn't have to buy it. You get it on Game Pass, and they gave review codes out to loads of people. I mean, it wasn't just like, you've got to have 100,000 channel subscribers or anything like that. Like, no, loads of really engaged fans online got given a code for it, and I think Coalition and Xbox, they know, okay, they deserve to get a copy of it. And would I have paid for it? Maybe. I probably would have if that was my only way to access it. I think they just about justifies the price. But we haven't really talked about that. David, what do you think about price? I mean, again, you played it on Game Pass, but would you have paid 40 quid just for these upgrades? Even as, the fan of Gears of War that you are, and I'd say you're a big fan, but I'm a really big fan of Gears of War. Would you have paid for this upgrade had it not been accessible to you on Game Pass?
I wouldn't have done off the bat. Probably similar to, you mentioned Metal Gear Solid 3. I wouldn't pay full price for that in the same way. It's more that I would think, okay, I want to play that. When I'm in the mood, I'll circle back around and see how much it is.
Yeah.
I wouldn't just die. I wouldn't be like absolutely desperate to buy it day one, because it is a definitive way to play it. But I felt when I was playing through this, it was just a reminder of how many times I've played through this game. Many times.
On that note, does that campaign still have appeal to you? Because I've played Gears of War campaign through probably 40 times, no exaggeration, like across versions. And since Reloaded come out, I've played it again 3 more times through. I mean, I sort of was playing it to do my due diligence for the show, and then I was playing it, but I was enjoying it, and then I was getting footage, and then I was like, right, I'll get the achievements as well. So I had reasons to play it, but I have played it enough, and Do I need to play it again? It's so quick. It's so short. I think it's basic. You can do it in like 5 hours, this campaign. So I was happy to play through it again, despite playing through it loads of times. But yeah, Alex, approaching the campaign, were you fiending to play through again on this version, or are you just like, I've done it?
Yeah, I pretty much am. I would need us to actually just have like Gears of War, when we come to it, whenever in the timeline that we're going to be getting to for this podcast is when I would want to play it again, to analyze it, and then to dive into the extra media around it, and really have a full like in-depth discussion on it. To just kind of pick it up now and play it, I think David and I actually did a podcast on it anyway a couple of years ago, so I got big kind of flashbacks on that of like, I did this like a couple of years ago. So and I have not played it 40 times. I don't think I've even played it 10 times. So there was just not a lot of incentive for me to actually want to go out and do it, unless this this podcast would make me actively think about it and engage with it properly. So unfortunately, I didn't really. I was more interested in playing the multiplayer, because that was something I haven't played Gears multiplayer for such a long time, and going back to this, as you said, like it's almost like the vanilla experience of like, this is like Gears of War classic effectively. And thinking that would be really fun to dip back into again, but I didn't have any fun. But we'll get to that. We'll get to that later.
You're spot on, and like that's why. This time I didn't spend any time thinking really about the story or talking about the story. There's no point, and I think we'll get to that in a big way in the future, and it will be worth doing then. But David, you've sort of had a little blast on the campaign, but you're feeling similar. What's your feeling about the campaign?
Yeah,
Does it still
I enjoy periodically reminding myself. It's a bit of a comfort game for me now, Gears of War. So it's just fun to periodically remind yourself of like in my mind, the big key moments. I enjoy the Wretch reveal in the game when you're in that corridor. I enjoy the explodey Wretch reveal. When the game sort of changes tone quite dramatically. I like remembering the Krill and like how it played with light and having to shoot the gas tanks, and it's just nice to remember the lots of different little things that it did. And I very much enjoyed sort of reliving that, saying, that is good. That is good. Oh, here comes.
Isn't it funny? You just reeled off like 4 incredible iconic set pieces from the game, and then I think about when we played through Judgment, and we're like, nothing happens in this game. There isn't one memorable set piece at all. The only memorable set piece is the flashback to Gears of War 3, and that's at the end of the game.
So true.
But yes, for all those reasons you just mentioned, David, the campaign, and we'll do a big coverage on it in future. There are some absolutely magical moments in this campaign, and I loved. I did love playing through it again here.
Tell you what, though, the game did me a couple times. There was like twice I've had to reload checkpoints because companions that you're walking around with, I'd walk into a room and then they just stand in the doorway, and I just couldn't get back out again. And I was like, get out the damn way. And then there was another one. Like when you're going through that house, when you're coming out of the stranded camp, and you and Dom are going through the house, and the guy's like, don't mess, or is it Dom or something says to him, don't mess this up, and he's like, if I mess this up, you're dead, so don't worry about it.
He's turning off the lights,
and then you go into and he turns off the lights, but he turned off the lights, and I actually got killed. I had to reload. Which did me. I don't know how that happened, and then it did it again, and I almost died again. So there was something, I was going somewhere that I shouldn't have been, but he turned the lights off and I died. I was like, oh well. I was like, nothing I could have done about that. Thank you.
There you go, a fresh experience for all.
New.
There are definitely some very minor. The AI of Dom does suck, quite a lot.
He just spent his time when you is it the Shrieker? What's that blind thing called?
The Berserker.
That you have to loot. The Berserker. That's it. Oh my god, the amount of times he got killed by that thing.
Sniffing its crotch.
He
just runs straight at it and gets downed, and you're like, why, dog?
It's just constant down. It's just constant AI partners getting down that game, isn't it? If you're not playing
and the other one that I found funny is sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there. Again, the bit where you're pointing the light and Dom's moving across the street, and you're pointing the light on him so that the Krill can't get to him. So I started getting shot at, and I was like, so I left the light pointed on him, and then started shooting an enemy off in the distance, and he just wandered off into the darkness and died. I was like, just don't, if you don't see the light moving, Dom, you don't just need to keep going.
Another iconic segment of the game, to be fair. But
I always enjoyed watching him go like snapping into cover from like a great height in that game.
Yeah.
It must be like one of those just kind of like mirror moments for the lads. Like, do we actually look like that when we're getting behind cover? But yeah, there's nobody there, mate. What are you doing? Just run to the light.
So yes, I did have a fun time through the campaign. And as we mentioned, visuals are lovely. I loved just sort of standing around. Like, there's a lot of CRTs in this. You know, you can see like the aliens influence and stuff like that, and that kind of technology and sort of buzzing of the CRTs, the atmosphere, the lighting. It was incredible, and I talked more about that in the review, so I won't rehash it here. But looks fantastic, plays as it should play. No real complaints, I suppose, apart from just not adding more. However, we shall move on. And I don't know, David, if you've even tried to play any of the multiplayer, but so Alex and I played some multiplayer. So I played the multiplayer a lot. I haven't played it for a couple of weeks now because it is already falling off. I was struggling to find some matches a couple of weeks ago. I wanted to get to
brilliant.
Yeah, exactly. I wanted to get to level 100 re-up, and I will probably get there at some point. But whereas originally I was finding matches pretty quickly, that slowed right down, and the PlayStation players seem to have disappeared altogether as well. But the multiplayer is here, intact as it was in Ultimate Edition. I will say that, and the episode we did earlier this year, we talked about how this multiplayer might evolve, or how E-Day might present its multiplayer, and what we think it should do to work. And setting aside how it actually plays, I just did enjoy the fact that I fired this up and it had what I want from it, and it's very simple. There's your game modes, jump on in, you know, your two teams, and that's it. Not the multiple screens and stuff that you get with something like Call of Duty today, and all the different modes, and it's hard to even navigate to get into a multiplayer match.
That's a very good point.
There's nothing threatening or frightening about finding your way into a match in this. So off the bat, I loved that, and I spent a lot of time primarily playing King of the Hill. It has been tweaked. It doesn't play exactly the same as Gears of War 1, and it doesn't play the same as Ultimate Edition. They have tuned it. They certainly fine-tuned it since the beta of this as well. And I think overall, generally, I'm really happy with how it plays. However, this game, the multiplayer, the main thing I kept running into was... I'm not really going to complain about how it actually plays and functions with the shooting, because it is what I expected. But for me, the matchmaking was really bad, and as time went on, I just kind of found myself put in situations where either I'm matched against people that are terrible or really, really, really good, and the teams and lobbies were not full, and there's no bot backfilling and stuff like that. So going from when this launched and playing a little bit with you, Alex, and the subsequent weeks,
it was doing that when we played it.
Yeah, I was sort of very excited, and I was like, yes, it's playing how I want it to play, and they've tuned it a lot since the beta. But then those issues really, really hurt the experience in a big way, where it just made it not fun in many times. And I definitely had times where I had a few run of games and I was like, cool, it's nailed it and it worked, but it was sort of few and far between. But my general sentiment is it plays fine. It's let down by matchmaking and being able to have a consistent run of games, where I was talking about before this launched, like, could this be the new multiplayer that for a few months I'm playing at least once or twice a week to tide me over till E-Day. We are now less than 2 months out from the game, and I haven't played it in 2 weeks because of those issues. But so that's my sort of broad thing. But Alex, why don't you talk about, you said you hadn't played multiplayer for a long time. So how did you feel stepping back into the world of Gears of War multiplayer?
Well, I initially felt like I was going to feel, like slipping into a nice comfy duvet, like getting back to it. But then, well, those issues that you just mentioned there kind of really almost instantly hit me.
Yeah.
We were getting. I don't know if that's because I was with you and I teamed with you, and that was the problem, that I was being carried into matches that were far above my lack of skill level, because it just felt like, you know, there were games where everybody was on double figure kills and I was on one, which was probably a grenade I threw somewhere blindly and got lucky with, and just within that one playthrough that we had, or we played for a good few hours, very, very close to the launch of the game, and we were already getting incomplete teams. We were getting, as you said, no bot filling.
Yeah.
And I think another problem that I had with it, which is nothing really to do with the fault of the game itself, although I did feel like it was either my shit internet, or it did just feel like that I had issues with things like collision detection. You know, my shots actually hitting when it felt like they should have been. People kind of like almost zipping towards me and killing me. That could just be me being tilted. I don't know. But the problem that I had was something that I've clearly lost my train of thought on. Hold on a minute. Let me try and get it back.
That sort of rubber banding and stuff you talk about, I mean, that's kind of like, that's really rare with modern games. You do not see it much, and it's like, if that happens, you're like, oh shit, there's a big problem here. It's happening all the time in Reloaded.
Yeah, and the thing that I've got my train of thought back now. The thing that was also winding me up again, not the fault of the game, but it just feels like the habits and the attitudes of a player base that's almost 20 years deep can be very, very grating if you're just dipping into this. I fuck knows what PlayStation players thought. No wonder there aren't any anymore. That game we had where we did play solely King of the Hill, that game we had where one of our teammates was just standing next to some ammo with, like, just looking at an opposition team player. Neither of them were just shooting each other. They were just standing up there for a laugh and then causing grief to us whenever we got near them. I just thought, like, people are too, like, ingrained in how to be a dickhead in this game now that I can't be bothered to engage with it, because it's just giving me rage. And fucking, like I said, if you've just jumped into this as a PlayStation player and you don't know how to, like, quickly snapping around cover and do the roll, punch, shotgun, what the hell are you gonna? It's not an inviting multiplayer anymore. So Godspeed and good luck to you if you're jumping into this as an absolute rookie without any idea of what people are going to do to you in return. Because if you're going to stand there taking pot shots with a launcher from cover like you do in the campaign, you are fucked, mate. Yeah, there is no point in playing that way. And I think that is largely a problem that we've had with Gears multiplayer time immemorial, right? It's always the overpowered shotgun roll combo. So you have to adapt to that very, very quickly, or not have any fun. And if you're also trying to adapt to that whilst being completely outmatched on a skill basis and outmatched on a numerical basis because your team didn't get filled, it always felt like ours was the team with people dropping out, probably because I'm so shit they couldn't be bothered to deal with me anymore. But it always felt like we were undermanned and over-skilled. I mean, you were brilliant, clearly, but I hated it. I fucking hated it.
Yeah, so the overwhelming sentiment. So, okay, there's two ways I look at this, and because obviously on our Twitter account we have a lot of very hardcore members of the community who I played with online with Reloaded, and I sort of come into contact with. I know who these people are, and they play a certain way, and they want the game to be a certain way, and they're very protective about that way to play the game. Fine. Yeah. Outside of that, if you go on like YouTube, TikTok, or whatever, and you see those clips of Gears being shared, all the comments are like, this game can go fuck itself. Gears fans are their own worst, are the enemy of the game. Good luck, this game's dead on arrival. This is why no one's playing the game, because of those tactics. And I'm talking about the bouncing around and stuff like that. It's not something I do. Like I say, I can get myself a pretty decent game without doing that, and it's fine. But the hardcore people, that's how they play, and instantly that's going to put off people like you. I mean, it can put me off as well, and it's certainly going to put off people who have never played it and are jumping 100%. In. They're going to be like, I'm not dealing with this. Like, you know, why would you? The learning curve it's already a niche game. We talked about the gameplay at the start. There isn't really anything like Gears that plays the way it does. So to expect someone to learn to play that and then have to deal with the people that are playing that hardcore way, it's a big ask. And like I say, the player base has dropped off. Those PlayStation players disappeared pretty quickly.
You can't learn it on your own terms because the single player gameplay doesn't teach you any of it, really.
It's completely
and then the multiplayer is just a completely different world. How are you supposed to learn that while everyone else has already mastered it 19 years ago? You're on a hide into nothing, really. It's for the sickos. Unfortunately it always will be.
And I found myself sort of able to begrudgingly hang in those matches, but then still
you definitely did.
But then, if I don't get, if I'm on a team with rookie players, which I'm happy for them to play with, but it's just, I'm not going to get anywhere, and there's no point me caring about kill death ratio. And I'm someone I'm not playing this for hours and hours and hours. I want to be able to dive in and have some fun. I can't do that with my free hour in the evening that I have after work and life and stuff like that. So there's a lot of people out there, hardcore players. I have seen a lot of the hardcore players think that in terms of how it plays, they're really happy with it. But now they're complaining now they're complaining that no one's playing it. And in my mind, I'm like, there's a reason no one else is playing it. But, David, I don't know if you've even tried with Reloaded, but just with how the multiplayer works, and can you cast your mind back, or did you have any thoughts on, the bouncing around and how Gears of War is accessible to new players in terms of multiplayer, if it is at all?
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't have much to bring to the table in this one. Gears of War, the multiplayer has never been something I've been a massive proponent of. Not that it's bad or anything like that, or that I thought at the time there was anything really wrong with it. I was just more of a single player and co-op guy in Horde mode, and that was the kind of modes I engaged with. Apex Legends has perhaps ruined my interest in competitive online shooting now, so I'm at the point where I may never play one again because I'm just over it.
I could tell you now, I wouldn't bother if I were you.
Yeah, so I think it's I don't know. It's nice that there seems to have been fun had, at least on Kelsey's part at some point. It's a shame that it can be a bit of a frustrating experience in many other regards. But it's not something I've got really any interest in beyond. I hope the people that do get some fun from it.
I hope that they can just take it that Kelsey is good and has seen some positives, and then you can just go fill the comments with Alex is a wetty. Go back and play your fucking Yuka replay like a little girl. You can't hang with us. I can't. Sorry.
Yeah, and like I say, I begrudgingly managed to find myself, I can finish first or second in basically every match I play, but not guaranteed that my team will win. And I have to navigate round those other players. I will not commit to learning that way because it's just, I'm not doing it. And it's a shame. And I don't know if that's a hard truth that maybe people want to hear, because like I say, I'm engaged with these people online, and I appreciate that they want to play it that way, but I'm like, well, just go play the competitive playlist then. But they won't. They want to bring that approach to social, and I think it's not rocket. You haven't got to be a genius to put two and two together here. Like this is why the player base has died off, because it could be fun to play, but it's not accessible for new players. And on a game that's not sold loads anyway, you're going to the pool of players is going to be thin on the ground. So if you walk in and you think, oh, someone's bought this on sale 25% off, well, let me check out the multiplayer. No thanks, I'm not bothering with that, because you're already 2 months out from, well, you're not 2 months out from a learning curve. This game's been out for 20 years, so you're dealing with real veterans, and more credit to you if that's the way you want to play. But I don't want to hear anything about. There's nothing wrong with the game itself. These players are trying to blame the studio, and it's like, it's not the studio. The game functions fine. It's the players. It's the players. It's not the manager. It's the players. Alex, you know what I'm talking about when I make that kind of reference.
I do. I mean, surely multiplayer gaming and unfortunately live service gaming has surely taught us all now that accessibility and inbuilt upgrade mechanics is probably the way that people want to engage with multiplayer games nowadays, and one where it's just like, this game is entirely skill based. There is you cannot get You cannot help yourself with weapons or perks or any. You are you. You are either good or you're shit.
Yeah.
You get good or you fuck off. This is more. This is more get good than Dark Souls will ever be.
It completely.
You can
is.
help yourself to cheese that game. You cannot cheese this.
Yep. Yeah, it's a shame. And like I say, I might persist and try and get through because I want to get that 100 re-up. I think I'm like at level 87, but it's painstaking. I haven't got time. I haven't got time to sit and watch the finding lobby thing buffer for 10 minutes. I want to dive in. Like it's just so yeah. But yeah, what that means for the future, I don't know. I'm sure they're looking at it and really strongly considering what E-Day is and stuff, but we'll talk about that again in future. Right, let's move on to summary and let's sort of move towards wrapping this up and stuff. But yeah, is Reloaded a success, or was it a success, is my question at the start. And I think, well, this depends. It depends what your metric is and what your measure for success is, because I think from a studio and a publishing standpoint, as I've said, by all accounts, it surpassed their expectations. And for a very, I don't want to say small amount of work, but they didn't have to build a new game. They had to do a bit of work polishing this up and getting it out for PlayStation. They've probably made their money back. They're happy with the PR buzz. They're happy with, the buzz around Gears that they got and stuff like that. So from those measures, yeah, I'm sure they're like, well, it didn't cost us 100 million to do this. Why wouldn't we be happy with, 250,000 sales on PlayStation that netted us, I don't know, 250,000 times 40 a pop? I don't know, some kind of millions of dollars they've made. It's a nice little earner for them. So, but then is it success from a fan base, and a, what would you say, like a mind share thing? I don't know, because from a multiplayer standpoint, as we've just talked about, I think it's probably twisted the knife a little bit for people that aren't hardcore players, because if you're launching E-Day with a multiplayer mode, I don't know why people are going to jump into that after this if they've tried this out.
Yeah, exactly.
Unless it's drastically different. But then from a standalone, what Gears is, as I said, the sacred nature of it, all the reviews were positive in that sense. This is the best way to play it. And yes, it's not done any damage in that sense. So it's a difficult one for me. Again, it didn't cost me any money. So yeah, I'm more than happy with it, despite the issues we sort of talked about. But David, what do you think? Is this done what it set out to do? Is it a success? Can you call it a success for Gears of War?
I think what you said about depending on how you gauge your metrics, I think will say whether you think this game is a success. Like you said before at the start of the podcast, it has potentially opened the franchise up to a new audience that it didn't have before. It has established the franchise on a different console, and I think some of the difficulty that Microsoft might have been perhaps worried about, however, they just had to do their Game Pass stuff to cure that, is the reaction to Microsoft and Xbox fans when one of their key franchises pops up in a different console, and it's sort of ripping the band-aid off of that without having to do it on a mainline brand new release. On the flip of that, how many people are more excited by Gears of War after the release of this game? Again, it's hard for me to say because we are sort of in amongst the weeds of it, but for me at least, no, I'm no more or less excited. It's just sort of come and gone, and I've had some fun with it while it arrived. So yeah, I think, like I said, to round it off, it depends on how you gauge the metrics. I'm no more excited by Gears than I was before, but yeah, there's a whole lot of new people that have access to this game now. So long term, it might be a good thing.
Yeah, Alex, did it succeed for you?
Yeah, I mean, it's a very meat and potatoes success kind of thing, isn't it? Yeah. It's not, you said earlier about, there's a more of a buzz, or the buzz around Gears of War they got. I'm not really sure there was any off the back of this, at least not lasting buzz. I think. But
what I mean is, I see, I maintain.
It was in the news, if you want that.
Yeah, and I maintain that whenever there is something like this, it trends. Gears of War does trend online if you look at it from that perspective, and it's like there are a bunch of people I think kind of pining for. They know what's there at its core, and it can be good. So it's exciting whenever it's talked about. I mean, it's still. I mean, again, how exciting it didn't sell that much, but
yeah, there is that. But if it's not. if it's not even cracked more than a couple of 100,000 people on the platform it's finally appearing on.
Yeah.
You sent that link with the sale that it is currently seeing. It's already on sale. You click the link to that on socials. I know social media is full of dickheads, but loads of people are saying, I didn't even know this released. When did this come out? Rip, all this kind of stuff. Scrolling through the comments. I genuinely can't think that there would have been much of a buzz in the existing community around the validity of this in the first place. So it doesn't seem to have moved mountains on PlayStation.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem to have got people carrying on playing it. As you say, the multiplayer servers are dying and no one on PlayStation's playing it. And for existing fans like myself, I wasn't buzzed by this.
Yeah.
If anything, I was actually quite let down by the fact that it was even a thought process. Like, why has this happened again? Why isn't it the Marcus Phoenix trilogy, which is what we all want? I've already played an updated version of this. And to sit there and play it was just kind of a reaffirmation that, oh yeah, great, it is, isn't it? It's really, really good. I really like Gears, but I already knew that.
Yeah.
I can't, like I said, it's a meat and potato success. As you didn't pay a lot of money to do it, probably didn't take a lot of development time. It quickly got something out the door. You were able to stick it on another platform. It didn't absolutely bomb. It just, it had some just about okay sales numbers. Better than okay if you expected nothing. But I think if you're looking at it on a more top down level, I don't think it succeeded in anything other than some nice review scores.
Yeah. No.
Do you think it at least keeps the embers burning? Because my concern about
How?
Gears and just because
It just seems cynical, doesn't it? Go,
pops
oh
on-
shit,
yeah,
have that.
no, yeah.
We painted it.
Because my concern about Halo and Gears is that we're now like so long since we've had a sort of mainline entry that like it must be diminishing returns on how excited a general community can become about this. Because like for example, like Call of Duty and Battlefield to a lesser extent come out on a regular cadence, so there's lots, like every year there's a new one coming out, which means every year new people are being exposed to the franchise and the game, so they're creating new fans all the time. It's been a long time since Gears have been going around creating new fans, because they just haven't been releasing games.
They're very much like trying to create new fans on PlayStation with a 19-year-old game that's already been remastered is very much just like giving your little brother the Mad Catz controller for Player 2. Like, here you go, mate. Do you want that? Well, I guess I want that, but like nobody who was on Xbox really wanted that. So why do I want that? Because I couldn't have it before. It just seems, I don't know. It all seems slightly misguided. But if they can, internally, if they can justify it, which they probably can, because it did some all right numbers, didn't cost a lot. It's established it on another platform, as David said. Then you can justify it and call it a success from that standpoint. But as big fans of the franchise, there's nothing about this that I look at as worth my time. And I don't see a successful product as a result of that. I just see the same thing again, that they've managed to make its best form, but I didn't really want that. Yeah, because I'm already over it.
Yeah, it's completely fair enough. And what's a frustrating thing for me about this podcast is that I would have liked to have garnered more opinion from someone who had never played it, and I've sort of seen that secondhand online from some people who have been quite happy to jump in and stuff and experience it for the first time. But like we talked about earlier, is most people have already played it, and literally everyone I know that would have an opinion has already played it, even if they are PlayStation players these days. So I couldn't go to them and go, oh, hello mate, remember this game that I used to bang on about? You can finally play it. No, they've already played it, so I can't even get that fresh perspective, and I can only get it secondhand online. But yeah, it's a funny one. Like I say,
I would love to have been more enthused about it. I'd have loved to have been more impressed and see the point of it being released as it was, but I just can't really.
No, it's completely fine. Before we wrap up, a couple of little things I just wanted to get your opinion on. Firstly, this is one I wanted to touch on because I keep seeing fans, or certainly people in the community, bang on about this as certainly a way to have a go at the studio. But I wanted to give my thoughts on it and see what your thoughts. So when this game was advertised, obviously it advertised split screen co-op. But the advertising and marketing was the same as it was on PC, which led people to believe that split screen co-op was coming to PC as well. And then it wasn't. It turned out that that was a mistake. And there is a sector of the fans that are extremely angry that split screen co-op didn't come to PC. Is this a problem, David? Does anyone play split screen on PC? I'm sure one or two
does
people
anyone play
do.
split screen at all anymore?
Is this a
Who has friends
Was
now?
this a thing for like the couch co-op of Gears I get on console, but on a PC? I mean, is this literally 5 people just using it as a reason to have a go at the studio, or is this something they should have done?
Yeah, I don't want to be dismissive if people like feel like they're being wrongly sold an item, but. Yeah, I think the way people, maybe it'll change as years go on with the way that Microsoft are going with their hardware releases. But I think the way people play PC is different from how people play a console. People play a console a lot sitting on a sofa. There will be people sitting next to them. On a PC, you're sitting at a desk, like cramming around a desk on a smaller monitor is not a fun experience. I just think, the numbers must be so small.
I mean, there are... I know, I mean, I am one myself. I know people who have got into PC gaming as just an extension of what they do sat at their couch on their TV. If you've got a good enough TV with decent refresh rates and stuff, then you're not going to... I mean, mine's back there. I sit on the couch to play my PC on the exact same TV I play my Xbox. So potentially with the realization recently that Microsoft is... Well, who knows what their console strategy is going forward? They're trying to make, Xbox everywhere. This is an Xbox, blah, 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 blah. Perhaps people are. I've seen a lot of people, especially in the aftermath of the Game Pass debacle. I've seen on the Reddit subreddits for like Game Pass and Xbox. I've seen a lot of people say, right, that's it. I'm done with consoles. I'm done with Xbox. I'm going to buy a PC and I'm going to buy stuff on Steam. So... yes, potentially, there's a shifting audience towards replicating console gaming on their PC now because they believe that they have more control over what they're going to own on it. So, yes, people probably do may want split screen around a TV with that. I think if it was advertised even through negligence of not telling it it's not possible, there's a reasonable gripe to be had with that. Yeah. But at the same time, it's not a deal breaker, is it really?
Yeah.
Is there split screen? Has there ever been split screen?
No.
Any PC versions of this game?
No. And this is what I mean. It's just an odd one. I wanted to touch on it because I know it was a thing that I kept seeing. They always reply to like the account.
People love a gotcha.
Yeah.
That's all we live for these days. Is a gotcha for a company, right?
Exactly what it is. And lastly, so I mean, was this a success? Was it worth doing? Did it sell enough? We talked about the collection. The trophy on Gears of War Reloaded on the PlayStation does hint at more to come. It says when you finish the game, so obviously you complete the trophy is called Nothing Left, and the caption with it says your adventure is over for now. So Alex, is this confirmation that Gears of War 2 and everything is all coming to PlayStation, or what does this mean, or is this just them, writing something that they don't have an answer to just tease people and get us talking about it on a podcast?
I would hope that it's a hint towards that. That's logical. That would be the proper decision for them to make. That would certainly make us feel very happy. I assume the Xbox One does not say that.
No, it does not say that. No. So this is the platinum trophy because it doesn't have.
Yeah, you wouldn't have that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair enough then. I guess it must. Yeah, I guess. I mean, we also do know that the adventure was not over for the lads at that point in the story's arc. So, you can kind of play that off and say, well, yeah, because there's Gears 2 and 3, so of course their adventure isn't over. Yeah. But why would you? I mean, why would you not remaster them at this point?
Yeah.
And if you are, you would definitely be bringing them to PlayStation.
Yeah.
So,
there's like a huge cynical part of me that wants to say this game maybe was not as big as a success as it should have been in my eyes. So no, there's no Gears of War. That litmus test that you talked about, it's failed. It's not really worth it because a lot more work's going to be required for Gears of War 2. But then if they've made enough money and they're getting enough they're making more money than ever before, maybe it's actually not that expensive for them to do it. And the goal has always been to get all the games on there. They have confirmed that the new Forza is going to come to PlayStation, but not day and date. They've said it will come, it's just not, it will come afterwards. I can't remember what the exact wording is, but so Forza 6, the Japan one, it is going to come to PS5, but not day and date. So
I think that's a production issue rather than an anything else issue. I just think it's taken them long to port the game rather than there being any sort of strategic decision behind that.
Exactly. And surely they want to focus their resources on making the Xbox and PC versions the best one. But
they also have set commitments for releases now. They've changed the Game Pass goalposts, so there is a compulsion to release it on Xbox where there isn't necessarily for PlayStation, so it can wait and come when it's ready.
And they don't have control of the platform that it isn't theirs, right? So why would they release it day one if Sony's releasing, whatever, one of their IPs on that around that time? They're just going to be putting it out to die. Yeah,
they what I think that we can safely assume from that though is that E-Day will come to PS5, not day and date. Now, whether that means we're going to get a Gears of War 2 remaster and 3 remaster before then, I mean, I've said it, I'm going to be a broken record. It's such an easy win. It's so annoying that they didn't do it this time, and I would hope it's in development. The low sales numbers on PS5 might have made them raise their eyebrows, but yeah, David, do you think 2 and 3 are coming, and the whole complete trilogy is going to arrive on PlayStation as this?
I don't know. I honestly thought they would have done it by now. It feels So I think to me, all that says is there will be more Gears of War, and there will be more Gears of War on PlayStation. Both of which we already knew. I would love to read a bit more into it because I really want them to do this treatment to the second and third game. I just don't see the evidence for it yet necessarily. Beyond it being a cool thing to have.
Cool. So that about does it for our Gears of War Reloaded post-launch chat. What did you think about the game? Let us know in the comments. Come and engage with us on the Gears Intel account on Twitter. We are also on Blue Sky. David, Alex, obviously you're a podcast duo elsewhere. What else is coming up? We've talked about A Winner Is You, but Alex, let's go to you first. Is there anything else happening in the world of Alex and the Video Game Hall of Fame, or anything else you'd like to quickly shout out before we get out of here today?
The Video Game Hall of Fame, shortly after this, we'll be doing our 60th episode where we will kind of wrap up the previous 10, where we force games in that didn't win the polls from the previous nominations. We then set up all of our categories for moving forward. We've got some really fun ones coming up in there. I've got a list of them here. What have we got? We're going to do stuff like games set during Christmas for when Christmas comes around. We've got games with ghosts is going to be our Halloween episode. We've got games from what I've loosely described as lesser consoles. So we all have to nominate a game from a console that wasn't made by Sony, Nintendo, Microsoft, or Sega. That'll be an interesting one. Games from the 80s. So yeah, tons of stuff. If people don't know what the format is, 4 hosts, each one picks a game from that, whatever that category is, and then we stick some polls up on social media and the fans get to decide which one goes in the Hall of Fame. That's what's coming up there. And of course, I believe you are still able to order Sega Mania magazine issue 9, which is sega-mania.com. That is a retro 90s themed Sega magazine where we go through the history of Sega year by year, with about 2 issues per year of Sega's history, not per year in the actual years. So we're up to 96, start of 96. There's a lot of Sega Saturn stuff. So if you're an old school Saturn head, get onto sega-mania.com, grab a copy of that. It's full of swear words and 90s references, so it's good fun.
Fantastic.
That's
yes,
it from me.
I'll put links in the description. David, so a winner is you. What's coming up? What have people missed? What's coming up? And anything else You need to.
Oh, don't ask me that. I've got absolutely no idea.
Yeah.
I record the podcast, drink while I record the
That's fair.
podcast, and then Alex does all the hard work.
Yeah.
So, what have we got? Yeah, we've got Silent Hill F coming up. Alex has finished that. Probably by this point, have you finished your second playthrough yet?
Very, very close. I'm up to
Very
her
close.
house. I've gone back to her house again now.
So I am now at her house in the first playthrough. So very near that. So yeah, you can expect that imminently. What game did we do last time, Alex? I've already forgotten.
Resident Evil? Am I
Was
imagining?
it summer?
Resident-
No, we did some. Did we not do a game for the entirety of September?
Or
I
did
don't
you
know if we
do
did in the
a
end.
like
Yeah,
a
we did Code
list
Veronica.
one.
By the looks of
Did
it.
you
Oh,
do a
Resident
list?
Evil 4.
the second part?
Yeah,
of
we
your
were
list
meant
of
to do a
games?
draft with you, weren't we? But we didn't
Yeah.
get around to it.
We are due a
So yeah, we've just
draft.
completed our summer of Resi, in
Yeah.
which we played Resident Evil Code Veronica and
That was it.
Resident Evil 4
The OG.
OG version. So yeah, check those out if you like. And you should like Resident Evil if you're listening to this podcast because of KDB's other activities.
Yes.
Indeed.
Yeah,
So,
that's
yeah.
it.
Yes.
We're hoping to fit Fatal Frame 2 in this Spooktober
Yes,
fest, as we
that's
call
the
it.
aim.
So we've still got plenty. It's only the 12th of October as of time of recording, so we should have time
Yeah.
for two spooky pods. So yeah, it should be Silent Hill F and Fatal Frame 2.
Fantastic.
With any luck.
Cool. Yes, I'll put links in the description. As for myself, as I keep mentioning, come and listen to First Aid Spray if you want to hear anything about Resident Evil 6. Come and
I
listen
definitely
to-
want to hear it if you're all going to have a shit on it.
Yeah, it's actually
I'm gonna stick that on my.
It's actually 2 episodes.
Running
There's a third one coming
Yeah.
to cover the Mercenaries mode, but I didn't get involved in that. Yeah, so come and check that out. My Fallout podcast just put out a couple of new episodes as well, so come and check that out. As I mentioned, I've got some stuff coming for the Horror Game Awards as well. Come and find us on social media. We are all on Blue Sky. I am KDB in it. David is Super Smiley and Alex is Thrillex. And the Gears Intel account is on Blue Sky and on Twitter, of course, as well. Subscribe on YouTube. Leave us a comment. All that stuff you're supposed to do on the internet. Till next time, thank you everyone for listening today. We'll be back as soon as we possibly can for more Gears of War and gaming. Until then, remember the fallen.